Boundaries define us. They define what is me and what is not me. A quote by Henry Cloud. And this is quite true. Some people have little to no regard for others and seem to believe their opinion matters all the time. However, what they don't know is that there is a limit to the type of people they can mess with. And at the top of the list is the high-value man. A high-value man is the embodiment of charisma, elegance, and leadership. He is a wealthy and powerful man who is adored by women and respected by men. He faces life's obstacles with courage and pride. He is someone who is moving forward in every aspect of his life. He is the one in charge of a lot of ventures, investments, and conquests of new territory. Every area of his life is described by the word great, and these areas include being physically, mentally, financially, and spiritually. In a more simplified way, a high-value man is the version of a man most people strive to be like. While growing up, this was the man you looked up to, the one you sought to grow into. When it comes to being a man, certain distinctive characteristics set you apart from others and make you truly a high-value man. Just like the farmer separates the wheat from the chaff. Watch till the end as I unveil reasons why you should never mess with a high-value man. They require the approval of no one. They are confident in their abilities. Do not mess with a high-value man because he seeks the approval of no one. The popular saying by Eleanor Roosevelt captures the confidence level of the high-value man. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. The high-valued man is autonomous and self-sufficient. Men who depend on the approval of others to feel valued are perceived as weak because they are less capable of speaking their truth, asserting their authority, and meeting their own needs. A man who is unable to stand up for himself is unrespectable, and as a result, his worth is diminished. A high-value man doesn't need your approval. He never acts needy, and he doesn't want you to give him that impression. His type of person is someone with a strong belief system and high self-esteem. Better physical health, and perhaps even happiness, have been related to high levels of self-esteem. Of course, you might need to work on your confidence unless you were born with the unwavering conviction that you're great. A high-value individual has a very high opinion of himself. Never attempt to knock down a high-value man. He doesn't want others to look down on him in real life or jokes. You should never mess with a high-value man because he is emotionally intelligent. He has both intelligence and emotion. A successful man has emotional intelligence. He possesses the capacity to see, comprehend, and affect the emotions of others. He strikes a precise balance between failure and emotion. A high-value man will never allow you to manipulate his emotions, and he won't want you to do the same to him. A high-value man doesn't harbor resentments because of his emotional intelligence. He has his clashes and conflicts with people, but he works through them and resolves them as much as possible. When awareness is brought to an emotion, power is brought to your life. Tara Mayer Robson's quote perfectly describes the personality of the high-value man. Holding on to hate is not just his style, and will not entertain your hate for him. Once you are disloyal to the high-valued man, there's no room for apologies. If you have proved a high-value man wrong in putting their trust in you, you must be prepared to go away from their life. A high-value man probably wouldn't forgive you for disloyalty or dishonesty. Even if you are lucky enough to get a second chance, you won't be able to gain their complete trust back ever again. One mistake again, and they are gone. So next time you are planning to commit to this man, remember to stick by it. They will cut ties with you when you are abusive to them. A high-value man will never cause you any harm. But the moment you leave them heartbroken, there are high chances that they might never see your face again. They are understanding, but not to the extent that somebody will take them for granted. The high-value man will not stand by and allow himself to be emotionally or physically abused repeatedly. They're tough creatures who refuse to play the victim, and if you are hurting them, then they aren't afraid to simply bail altogether and cut you from their lives. When you lose a high-value man, it is almost certainly for good. The high-value man invests time in adding value to whatever they do. A high-value man adds value to everything, making it look better than he found it. Don't interfere with the things he's created. Your enthusiasm, attitude, network, resources, expertise, previous life experiences, and obstacles overcome are just a few examples of the many ways you can add value. Because he goes above and beyond to achieve his goals, he will never belittle you when you undermine his efforts. They're logical, calculating, and patient. Unlike some of the other classes of men, high-value men are not irrational hotheads and possess the ability to be logical, calculating, and patient. This means they are not the types of people that you want to get on your wrong side. Instead of acting out of sheer emotion, they will think carefully about their next move and always make moves and decisions that will be advantageous to them, and not simply based on emotion. High-value men are focused. Hence, they try to avoid black and white thinking. Only low-value men engage in black and white thinking. A high-value man does not play such games. He understands that the best and worst times in life change. He manages to control and moderate his emotions during the best and worst times, so he doesn't spin out of control. He never messes with other people's best and worst times, so don't mess with him. They always know a lot more than they let on. Don't assume that you know what a high-value man does and doesn't know, because they always know more than they let on and think about things more than most people realize. People often underestimate them in this way, but a high-value man will just use this to their advantage. Some might see them as clueless, but they have the habit of keeping most information to themselves and speaking impulsively. The high-value guys have cultivated several habits since they were young, including being trustworthy, self-disciplined, goal-oriented, results-driven, health-conscious, action-oriented, and people-oriented. This has helped in molding them into the men they are today. And if you want to mess with them, thinking they are clueless, then think again. They're loyal to the bone and fiercely protective of their friends, family, and loved ones. High-value men take loyalty seriously, and if you try to mess with one of their loved ones, there will be consequences. They look out for those that mean the most to them. And if you're planning on messing with the loved one of a high-value man, then you'll have made two enemies instead of just one. He is a pillar of support for his friends. A high-value man sticks by his friends through thick and thin. If you get sick, disagree with him, have a hard time, or are apart from him for a long time, he will stick by no matter what happens to support his friends however he can. This includes financial help, taking friends to doctor's appointments, and helping with research topics. He believes in the saying, a man who is worth his salt never lets down his friends. The only thing he does not do is entertain betrayal and backstabbing. A high-value man is absolute. He stands by his word. One major trait of a high-value man is that he separates himself from everyone else by his words. If he agrees to a business, he sticks to it and never withdraws. His no is no and his yes is yes. He has a toxic pattern of reacting to difficult situations and emotions. The high-value man doesn't make a compromise in any way. One of the most crucial traits of a high-value man is his values. He never compromises his value to anyone. He not only does them, but also sticks to them. Come rain or shine, a high-value man is a man of principle. Men who tell white lies or do things unethical are far from being high-value men. A highly valued man develops his skills. He does not rest on his laurels. He is always developing his skills, either by learning to do basic repairs or taking a crash course. When a man feels unique, respected, useful, and needed, his value rises. Confidence is a great attribute that a highly valued man cherishes. There is no other way to say it. He knows his worth, and he demonstrates that in his job and interpersonal relationships. Due to this, he believes greatly in sticking to his values, and there's no room for compromise. Watch this video and find out how to become a high-value Sigma male. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.